Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about this up-and-coming eclipse that will occur June 10th, which I think has some monumental effects. Remember, I always say eclipses are one of the most important tools that we can use as astrologers for prediction. So I have a lot to reveal about this eclipse. But before I get into it, I want to remind everyone, I'm starting the University of Vedic Astrology beginning class June 16th. So if you've always wanted to learn Vedic astrology, join our community, go to the university website, which is universityofvedicastrology.com. And don't forget to check out my website, which is galacticcenter.org, and sign up for my free newsletter, which I give all of these predictions in detail delivered to your email address. And don't forget to check out my beautiful jewelry. I'm selling malas and spiritual jewelry that really does remind us of our spiritual essence while we're here on planet Earth. So getting to this eclipse, which happens June 10th, it is going to occur at 25 degrees of Taurus. And Rahu is going to be at 16 degrees of Taurus, and tied up with this eclipse is also Mercury. And of course, we have Mercury very tightly with the Sun-Moon conjunction, which is a solar eclipse. So everything having to do with communications, it's all coming back together. Mercury is retrograde during this eclipse. So there's so much about communications, internet, things that are spiraling out of control during this time. Let me remind you, this is huge. So another thing that I feel like is very, very important is the fact that this eclipse, K2, is at 16 degrees of Scorpio, which is the degree of the fixed star Antares, star of war. And this concerns me because that is a point where things and everything's getting ready to boil over. And one thing I want to say too is this eclipse path, where it's most readily seen on the planet, is in the northern hemisphere, northern Canada, close to Alaska and Greenland. And what that can mean is that there's something changing. Earthquakes up there, the poles, and maybe even the melting of the poles. Something is really changing from the core essence of our planet. And I believe always eclipses and everything that's happening on Earth is due to human emotion, and people are really reacting to all that's been happening in this world. And yes, we're trying to get back to being normal again. And here I'm seeing all of these intensities, especially around the world with governments. There is so much fighting. The Middle East, Israel, and it's not over. I think there's going to be some involvement with the United States, and who knows who else comes in to this intensity of what's been happening. Now, also, let me talk about this eclipse because it is happening in the nakshatra called Mrigashira. Mrigashira means searching. Its symbol is a deer that's in the hunt and searching. So it's like we're hunting for something, we're searching for something, we need something right now. And it's overwhelming, the sense of lack of fulfillment, because with the sun and the moon coming together as a new moon, that's a solar eclipse, a new moon with Rahu or Ketu. This one's with Rahu. And this is about leadership and leaders in the world. But the moon, Mars is in Cancer in the sign of the moon, and this is what is really bringing the masses of people out that are upset. They're upset about everything that's been going on up until this point, and they're not going to take it anymore, I'm afraid. Things are going to spew over. And I'm not real happy with the way things look in some of our leaders' charts. It looks actually very dangerous this month of June. I have made this reference point in my predictions for this month, whereas I noticed that this eclipse is heavily influencing leadership around the world and President Biden's chart. This could be a time that he's got to really buckle down and think of protection, not only for himself, but of the country and what's going on globally in the world. So much is about to be exposed too, with Mercury being retrograde and Jupiter about to station at 7-8 degrees of Aquarius. And Jupiter pretty much sits where it is in a square aspect between Rahu and Ketu and the Sun and the Moon. So this is intense, and not only that, we're having the approaching opposition of Mars and Saturn squaring Uranus. What a month! Saturn square Uranus has always been a time of breakdown in the world and violence. Ketu being on Antares worries me. Somehow we've got to find it in ourselves to find peace within ourselves so that possibly we can counteract the effects of this global crisis that's coming up. The economy, the world, everything. It's all about to shift with Uranus being at the midpoint of Saturn and Mars. And if I could say this, many countries are suffering as a result. I see India suffering because Mars is transiting over a stellium of planets that's in the chart for India. It looks very difficult for that country during this time. Furthermore, for the United States, Mars is transiting in the 8th house in the chart for the United States, which can have dire effects on endings, and especially for the economy, money. There's going to be a crisis coming up. And like I said for so long, I said watch the fuel prices. During the months of June through August, they're going to be high. And that's exactly what's happening. That's going to cause so much repercussions in so many other companies and their stocks because they need fuel to operate, to ship. All these things are coming under pressure. Everything that this coronavirus has created, we haven't suffered the consequences yet. Not really. No, of course we've suffered the consequences of so many people dying. But now we're going to have the other effects of the fall of the economy, the fall of people, and there's going to be a lot of suicides over the effects of what's to come. The sense of security is being dropped. There is no security. And that's what we need, is security, whether it comes through finances, whether it comes through being protected from enemies. It's lost during this time. This eclipse in Taurus is telling me that there is so much that we're searching for, what we need to find. And I believe the good news is we'll find it. But it's going to take a while. Now, Anuradha is where Ketu sits. Anuradha, that nakshatra, it is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is being compounded by Mars and Uranus. So this is very, very difficult. But at the same time, Anuradha is about friendship. So we have to find who we can trust and bring in as friends. This goes as governments, but also as us individuals. We have to come together and find peace. Now, Mrigashira, where this eclipse is occurring, it's the star of searching. It's also ruled by Mars. Mrigashira's nakshatra is ruled by Mars, and Mars is in a treacherous place. Mars is the most disruptive planet, if I could say that right now, where it's placed. And the focal point for everything that's coming down right now is Libra. And I have mentioned before, it's around 19 degrees of Libra, where Uranus will oppose it and Saturn and Mars will square. So these are actually where Uranus, Mars, Saturn, and that focal point in Libra, these are all cardinal signs. Cardinal are action oriented, so things will explode. But when I go to where the eclipse is happening in Taurus, Taurus actually rules money and finances, so this may be where the insecurity and the searching is needed to happen. Taurus is ruled by Venus. If I could say a good thing that's going on in this eclipse chart, which there actually is, trust me, Venus being in Gemini could protect. Because while we have Mercury in Taurus, they exchange signs. We have a mutual reception, and that is good, and that is powerful. It puts Mercury like it's in Gemini and Venus like it's in Taurus, which means maybe all of this explosion is happening to heal the economy. This could be the positive that comes out of it, because there has been so much corruption going on in the world. And this has so much to do with governments, with markets. And this will be exposed. And this is the best thing that could come out of this, because this will lead to a much better society and a healing of the world and the globe. So get ready. Things are about to change. This eclipse is powerful. And I want you to practice finding peace, finding a sense of security, finding that place where you call home, and finding family, because this is what it's all about. And as we go through this tunnel, there will be a rebirth, because Uranus, as it's been transiting in the nakshatra Bharani, means sudden breakthroughs. And to me, Uranus is the planet of the Great Awakening. And that's what this is bringing about. So I guess we have to go through the tunnel to get to the other side, where there will be a massive healing. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me, if you would like to sign up for my free newsletter or schedule a reading, go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Don't forget to check out my beautiful jewelry. And don't forget, if you want to study Vedic astrology, we are starting a new semester, semester 1, on June 16th. Go to University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.